All right. Well, we're going to try going live again. We've had some technical issues, and we're going to be talking about a lot of things and upcoming things that are happening in our country today on The Truth Must Be Told. So stand by.
He's just ignorant. He doesn't know any better than to tell the truth.
It's the truth. I just want to report the truth. It'll be a nice change of pace. Okay?
When in doubt, tell the truth.
Edward, I tried to tell the truth, and they kicked me off the air.
You can't handle the truth!
And now, speaking the truth, even though it hurts. Here's the host of The Truth Must Be Told, Sal Passos.
Good evening. Happy Saturday night to all of y'all, and welcome to The Truth Must Be Told. Sitting next to me is my beautiful wife, Lori. Say hi, Lori.
Hi, Lori.
All right. And she's joining me here. We have a very special podcast today. Now, I don't know how well the live feed is going. There seems to be a streaming issue. But either case, I'm also recording this, so after we're done, we will put it on. We'll rebroadcast it anyway. Also, to let you know, I will transfer this over to Rumble. You can join me there at spassos1 at rumble.com. Also, the audio will be available on these podcast stations, so we're glad to have you with us. Now, welcome to today's podcast. Like I said, I'd like to let me know if you like having a live feed, and your suggestions will be welcome. Put them in the comments below. We really do appreciate that. And if you don't forget, please, to subscribe to this channel. Hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss episodes upcoming. This is going to be the first of a good series of live podcasts and episodes where we'll be discussing new things that are going on. So, I'm going live. Take your questions. If you have any, please put them in the comments below, and we'll do our best to answer them. And so, since our last podcast, there have been so many things happening in the world, hasn't there, Lori?
Yes.
Yeah, we've had the Olympic debacle, the Kamala nightmare, which is ongoing, the DNC, the demonic national convention in Chicago, and RFK and Tulsi Gabbard are supporting Trump, as well as Elon Musk. And I heard Billy say today on that show that Elon Musk is actually part of the WEF. I don't know if you knew that or not.
No, I didn't.
So I don't know if that's going to be a good thing for us or a bad thing. But I just wanted to share my thoughts as a Christian about some things regarding what's going on in this country, and there's just some crazy stuff going on. Now, earlier this week, Lori and I were watching Donald Trump at the border in Arizona, and he was visiting the area. He was visiting with the families of the victims of illegal immigrants that have murdered and raped and everything else. Oh, you can't say that on YouTube anymore. I'm sorry. Graped. So my heart broke as I watched the testimony of these mothers and family members coming up, and one of them was that 12-year-old girl in Texas that was murdered. And she had, the brother was holding up a shirt, Forever 12, with a picture on it, Forever 12. And my heart broke. My heart really, really broke. I started to cry because I where's the justice for these families? They're allowing these illegal immigrants to come into this country. They're not vetting them at all. They're just letting them in. In fact, Kamala's flying them just out of the border to different states and cities. And I don't know. And the left is totally silent on this.
Now they're saying they're doing things to secure the border.
Oh yeah, now.
A couple months away from an election. Yeah.
Of course, because it's near election time, and it's of course. And you notice how Kamala is trying to imitate Trump.
Yes.
Yeah, she's imitating Trump. She says now she wants no taxes on tips. She's going to be tough on the border. If you watched her interview last night, which we did, that was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see how when they tried to nail her down about the fracking, oh, you didn't, you were against fracking. Are you still against fracking? Oh, no, I want fracking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course, because she's trying to win Pennsylvania. She's losing in Pennsylvania.
Totally flip-flopping and lying about everything that she's always stood for.
Absolutely. And it's a nightmare. And now they say they want to make things better, but they're the ones that are ruining everything.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to also make it seem like Trump's the incumbent, and everything bad that's happened over the last 3 years of their administration is all Trump's fault.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are going to make it all better.
Yeah, I can't believe she said that. She said it today, or did she say it last night? It was Trump's fault that all these illegal 20 million plus illegal immigrants.
Yeah, she went on some story about some kind of legislation that Trump thwarted to go through Congress just by making phone calls maybe to some Republicans. But literally, all they have to do is an executive order, because that's exactly what Trump did when he was in the White House. It's our constitutional right to protect the sovereignty of this country.
It's their responsibility.
All they got to do is, we have a threat to our national security, and they could just shut the border.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. They don't need Congress to give them approval for it.
Yeah.
So all that was just a big lie.
Yeah.
Everything that comes out of her mouth is a big, huge lie.
Yeah, and it's sad. It's sad. It really is. That it is. And how do you know when they're lying? Their mouths are open. That's how you know. And it's really sad. What I like about Trump is Trump's not a politician. He's a businessman.
Yep.
And he doesn't fit into their mold, and he's not part of the agenda, so they want to get rid of him. Look,
communist deep state agenda.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's sad. It's sad to see where this country is going. I want to live in the country I grew up in. I want it back. I don't know if we're ever going to see that again.
I don't know.
But I don't know if any of you out there have been paying attention to what's been happening, but now one of the Kamala's promises, and I use that promises, is to give $25,000 to first home buyers.
Right. And then some kind of $6,000 child tax credit.
For
a new child, for having a new baby. So then again, what happens to everybody that doesn't have a new baby, like us?
Yeah.
We aren't having any
No,
babies.
we're not going to have any new
anytime
babies.
soon.
No.
And we, thankfully, because we bought it when Trump was president, own our own home. So what about us? I guess
Yeah.
we're the ones that are going to foot the bill for that 31,000 right there.
Yeah, exactly.
You
And
know?
if
And
you-
everybody else that isn't a first-time home buyer and isn't a first-time, having a
Having
baby.
children.
So what's in it for us?
yeah. Well, what's in it for us is we'll be paying
Yeah.
for it. They're gonna. That's how. And then she's talking about this unrealized tax that she wants to put on homeowners.
Right.
Excuse me. So
Well, that's. I mean, I heard that it's only supposed to be for the millionaires and the billionaires. Supposedly they make over $100 million or something. But basically, if somebody has buildings or corporation or stocks and whomever conjures up the unrealized tax gain or gains from it, and they tax them on it yearly, well, then they're going to have to liquidate something that so they could get the money to pay the tax.
Right.
So, well, the easiest thing to liquidate would be stocks. And then they sell stocks. And I mean, I don't know much about the stock market, but it sounds to me like if all these rich people are going to be selling their stocks to liquidate to get money to pay their taxes, then other people are going to sell, and then it's going to crash the economy. But generally speaking, I mean, it's a stupid, ridiculous tax thing that isn't going to work, and it's going to crash the economy. But they're not going to do it. They're just trying to say they're going to do it because their followers want to hear that. Ooh, we're going to go after the 1% rich people. Now, as of right now, the Democrat Party is no longer the party of the working class. They are the party of the elites and rich donors.
yeah.
They aren't going to tax, the heck out of their rich donors.
Exactly.
Because they are rich.
Exactly, yeah.
So they're not going to tax themselves, and they're not going to tax all their buddies that, are in the agenda with them.
Yeah.
So it's not going to happen. It's another lie.
Yep.
Just like this thing that happened with the student college loan bailout.
Yeah, that went
They,
nowhere.
it's bogged up in the courts, which is what they want. They knew that was going to happen because they can't do it. So, now it's just the court's fault. It's not their fault. They were the ones that wanted it. So it's just more propaganda to throw out to their people to say, yeah, we're going to go after the rich 1%, which they never do because over the last 3.5 years, the rich just got richer.
Yeah.
There are, and all of us have gotten poorer. In New York alone, there's all these big major hotels that were literally going bankrupt. So the government reached out to them and said, oh, well, let's turn your hotels into migrant shelters and we'll pay you, millions of dollars.
Exactly.
For the migrants to get free real estate, a free place to live, and bail them out. So they just bailed out these people that would have, gone out of business. And, where are they getting that money from? They're getting that money from us.
Yeah.
I think I heard they spend $20 million a month for the, I don't know what, it's on that island, that huge migrant tent shelter.
Yeah.
And they just basically sit there all day. They don't work, and they get free room and board. And I think a month ago they had to raid the place because of gangs and guns and violence. It's just ridiculous. What is the point of having all these people come to our country where they have nothing to offer other than their votes for the Democrats?
Right.
and it's
Now,
terrible.
I want the audience to know that both Lori and myself have no objection to people coming into this country.
no.
No.
But
But you
as long as
come
you do
in
it
legally.
legally.
You come in legally. I mean, my grandfather, and I've got, you know what, funny enough as it is, I've got, sitting right here, my Portuguese grandfather, when he came over here, I mean, he had to get papers signed. And these are from these are very old. So I'm trying to be very, very careful. But these are some of his immigration papers here. Here. It's kind of broken over here, but you see it's from the Republic of Portugal. I'll put that up there so you can see. And he worked hard to learn English, to learn a trade, to be in fact, there they are. Here's the whole family there. Portuguese grandmother, grandfather. They came over here and they wanted a better life, and
Right. And they came over to bring to the table, their skills, and they came over here with pride for our country to, come in and, basically make America what it became.
Yeah.
And but they were also vetted. They were vetted for diseases and crime or records or something. And I mean, they were heavily vetted back in the day.
Yeah.
They just weren't let in. We're letting in, 18 to 30-year-old able-bodied men from all over the world, all sorts of countries. I don't see all these families and children. They don't even know what happened to all the children that
No.
came into this country. That's a whole other story. They're missing somewhere. Hundreds of thousands of children are not around anymore.
Trump said today in his message earlier today that there's over 300,000 missing children.
Yeah.
And they could be slaves somewhere.
Yep,
Or even
sex
slaves in this
slaves,
country.
it's,
Yeah.
Somewhere in this
Yeah.
country, or they've already been shipped abroad.
Yeah. And they don't know.
but-
it's-
Lost my train of thought, but
Oh, that's okay. While we're talking about the illegal immigrants, I also put in my notes here that California wants to pass a bill to give up to $150,000 for first-time home buyers, but
only if they're illegal.
only if they're
And it's-
undocumented immigrants.
And it's no interest,
Yeah.
no payment loans.
No payback. Yeah.
So, it's basically like, here, we're just going to give you $150,000 if you're an immigrant, and basically
You're
if
undocumented.
you're gonna vote Democrat for the rest of your life. But see, that the thing with that is that's what they want, because they want everybody to own nothing and be happy.
Yeah.
And
Gee, we ever heard that before?
yeah, World Economic Forum.
Oh yeah, Klaus
And-
Schwab.
But that means who owns your home? You don't own it. The government owns it. And the government could come in any time and just take it away from you.
Yeah.
They could just take your home and then you don't own it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a sneaky little way of, giving something to somebody and being able to take it back at any time.
Well, it's something we need to remember, and I heard Billy talking about it today. Billy Crone. By the way, if you check out Billy Crone, Pastor Billy Crone, Pastor Tom Hughes, and Pastor Brandon Holthouse. In fact, Pastor Holthouse, it was on his Tip of the Spear show today that Billy was saying that in order for Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum to set up this one world government, the United States is standing in the way. We're standing in the way. So if the United States has got to be knocked down
Oh yeah.
in order for them
We
to
gotta be
proceed,
destroyed.
we have to be destroyed. And it sure seems like the
We're standing in the way of globalism.
standing in the way of globalism, and it seems sure like there's a lot of people that want to destroy this country.
Including the people in it and
including
running
people in it. Yeah, exactly.
Well,
And,
they're okay. They've just made all their, piled all their money laundering into the Ukraine.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'd like to know as a taxpayer where that money is being used in Ukraine, but you can never
It's
find that
not.
out.
It's not.
It's being laundered.
It's
so
yeah.
a lot of which went back to the Biden family, which he was just brought up with, that they found $27 million or $28 million he'd gotten from other countries.
Yeah.
So
And of course, nobody's talking about it.
Nobody's talking about that because Orange Man bad.
Yeah.
Orange Man bad. Now, the people who do support these things, they don't realize that they will be the one paying for it. Taxes have got to increase. This money's got to come from someplace.
Yeah.
You don't get anything for nothing. I remember back when and you remember I told you this story, back when Obama was running for the first time as president, I was working at Petco as an assistant manager, and one of the sales rep that came in, we got to talking about the election, and I was talking about all of the stuff that Obama wants to do. She didn't want to hear it. She literally, this grown woman, stuck her fingers in her ear and was going, nah, 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 because she didn't want to hear what I had to say. And other people that I talked to during that time were like, oh, wait, he's going to give us free health care. I said, nothing's free.
Yeah.
Okay? It's got to be paid for from someplace. So it's going to be paid, you're going to be paying for it out of your taxes. I'm going to be paying for it out of my taxes.
Yep.
But they don't seem to realize that. So, so why are we putting down the left so much, though? Why are we doing
Well,
that?
because they're awful.
Yeah. The coming election right now is not about left or right or Republican or Democrat. It is good versus evil. Mm-hmm.
Yep. We're in a spiritual battle.
Oh, we sure are. Let me, I'll put this up here for a second here. Spiritual warfare. We are in a spiritual battle. And the battle is real. Okay? We've got to remember that there are scriptures after scriptures after scriptures that talk about we're not in... we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers.
Yep.
Against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. And that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, okay, but mighty through God to the pulling down of these strongholds. And we're responsible as the church to address these things. Okay? When Jesus said, upon this rock I will build my church, he wasn't talking about Peter.
No.
He was talking about the gospel, the good news.
Jesus.
He's talking about himself. Upon this rock I'm going to build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Are gates offensive or defensive?
I don't know. You got me on that one.
Gates are defensive.
Okay.
You put gates up to defend yourself, okay? So the gates of hell won't prevail against the church.
Right.
Okay, because we are mighty through God to the pulling down of these strongholds, and we need to do this. And of course, Lori and I both support Trump. And why would we do that? Well, it's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight for a little bit. Is do you think Trump is a born again Christian?
I do not. I think that he is. I think he respects God. Mm-hmm. And I know he, honestly, only God knows the heart of any man. Mm-hmm. But I just feel like Trump hasn't gotten the right gospel. Right.
With having Paula White.
And prosperity teachers supporting him. And I don't think he realizes that he is a sinner in need of a savior.
Right.
And... So I don't know if he's come under humble repentance and really believes in Jesus for salvation. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that he can't be used mightily by God. And I think he has been used mightily by God. Uh-huh. And he continues to be. And, if he wants to give glory and honor to God for saving his life from a bullet that missed him by half an inch, well, good for him,
Exactly.
Because, I could see God's hand in that.
Yeah, because that was one of the questions. Did God save Trump's life from an assassin's bullet?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did.
So.
I think so. For what purpose? We don't know.
Yeah.
But we know that, he's given glory to God on that. Though lately I've been hearing him talking about that chart saved my life. So I don't know. I don't know whether it's wearing off or not. But
Yeah, but he doesn't. I don't think he doesn't understand biblical
Yeah.
truth.
Right.
You know, and like I said, he. Unfortunately, people have aligned with him that really don't know biblical truth either.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah,
the
that's
false
true.
teachers. So
Yeah. But Paula White is definitely not. I mean, first of all, she shouldn't be a pastor.
no.
Okay, that's
No.
that's first things first. She has no biblical background or backing to be a pastor of a church. So that's, that goes there. But she's also part of the NAR, and they want a Seven Mountain Mandate. They're part of all that.
Right.
Well, we're going to win the world for Christ. And then as we win
Yeah.
the world for Christ, Christ will return. But that's not.
Yeah, like ushering in the kingdom
Yeah.
so that Christ can come back. The only kingdom we're ushering in is the Antichrist kingdom.
Yeah.
I mean, a kingdom of lawlessness and unrighteousness and, paganism
Yep.
and sin. That's
Oh,
the
yeah,
only
absolutely.
kingdom that is clearly being brought into our country. There's just, I see so many things that have been affected all over the place, from, just every agency, every entity that, like, whether it's our government, our education, even our police have been infiltrated by corruption.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm starting to think that it's more so there are a few good people that are in these places like 10% are still good and 90% have gone astray. And I just see so much stuff. I kind of see, watch a lot of stuff and I see so many things that are just, going out of control in our country. I mean, in our world as a whole, but and it's so concerning. And this wasn't like this 80 years ago.
No, it wasn't.
And I just always say that as we have pushed God and His Word out of our country, out of our society, we have allowed the darkness and the powers and principalities of darkness to prevail and to
Exactly.
permeate our society. Just, a couple things. There's been an increase in parents and children like abusing, torturing, and murdering their kids. And there are literally YouTube channels geared to these stories, like that. They're weekly, and sometimes even on my news feed, like if you get into a certain place, you see a story, and then you see all the stories relating to that story. And there's just countless circumstances of parents killing their children, and it's like, this wasn't like this 80 years ago. Something is wrong, and that's where a lot of people don't realize that we are in a spiritual battle, that there is a spiritual realm all around us. And when you remove God and His Word from society, then the enemy, the devil, who is real, him and his minions and demons and fallen angels will come in and influence humanity.
Yep.
Through all sorts of means, through sin, mental health issues, drug and substance abuse,
Right.
and just all sorts of paganism, false religions, all sorts of things. The occult is so prevalent in our society right now.
Oh, yeah.
And
they're not hiding it either.
No, they're not hiding it. Look at the music industry. The music industry is like worshiping Satan constantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you've just got this, this is what people, become accustomed to, and just, they don't look to God anymore, and they look to the world.
No.
And right now, the ruler of the world is Satan.
That's right. And I mentioned this to you the other day, with all the oddball things that are going on airplanes right now. People
Yeah.
freaking out, people getting sick, people, And one guy I was watching said he tried to check on trains, planes, and boats, and he can't find any kind of this kind of activity on there. He only sees it on airplanes.
Trains and boats.
Right.
Trains, buses
and boats. Right.
boats.
Trains, buses, and boats. Right. Sorry. And he said, well, he can't find it. I wrote to him and I told him, well, that's because Satan is called the prince of the power of the air. The atmosphere and space are his domain.
Yep.
So, of course, I think people are going crazy on these planes because it's some sort of demonic activity. I know that may be a stretch for some of you, but that's the way it's going to be. And my apologies again. I don't know, the feed still isn't working, but we're going to continue going here and record so that we can. I'll put this out again later, and don't forget to leave your comments below. But we're definitely in a spiritual battle, and what we're seeing is a destruction of this nation from the inside, and we're what the prophet warned about. Woe to them that call, good bad and bad good. Call evil good and good evil. So we're seeing that now. I mean, look what's happening. I mean, if you speak out against certain things, then you're going to get banned. A lot of big guys shadow banned. Now I only have a small audience. I have 195 or 198 followers on YouTube, which I thank every one of you for. And make sure you share this so it gets out, gets further out into the algorithm. But now I'm getting a bigger drawing on Rumble, and I'm also getting some people following me on X, Twitter. I don't like calling it X, but on Twitter, which I still don't trust, but I'm getting some things out there for it. So, but yeah, we are definitely in a spiritual battle, and the more I want to bring this up on the screen, and I just want to discuss it briefly because we were watching. I was watching Spencer Smith the other day, and he had brought this scripture up. And let me bring us into this as well so people could see us. He brought up Isaiah 3, and he went from verses 1 through 12. And it talks about not the destruction but a judgment on Judah and Jerusalem. And saying that the Lord, the take away from Jerusalem and from Judah, the stay and the staff, the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. So God's judgment is upon them. And what have they done? Well, go down to verse 9. And it says, the show of their countenance doth witness against them, and they declare their sin as Sodom, and they hide it not. That's powerful. They declare their sin as Sodom. And that's what we're doing today. The homosexual crew, the transgender, everything's out there now, and they're proclaiming it. They hide it not. And woe unto their soul, for they have been rewarded evil. They have rewarded evil unto themselves. But then another interesting thing, and that's going to bring us to our next topic here, is in verse 12, Isaiah 3:12 is, as for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the way of thy paths. So I'm looking at stuff today, and I just, I'm looking at this thing that women rule over them. But before that, I see children are their oppressors. And what did we just see in California? In front of a liquor store, there was a group of teens, a group of children that were attacking the store owner. Okay, or a clerk in that store. He wound up pulling a gun. He didn't shoot anybody, but they sure scattered when the gun came out. But there was an unruly, I had about 50 teens there, if not more. And they were beating this guy, throwing stuff at him, trying to attack him, and he had to do what he had to do to save his life. So the children now are oppressing the country.
Oh yeah, what about all the kids that were hitting the elderly?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that still goes on.
Yeah. Yeah, they just come up and sucker punch people behind their back. That's horrible. But then the Bible says here that and women rule over them. Wow. Does that say a lot? That's got a mouthful. One of the things that one of the reasons I did want to bring Lori in tonight, and I'm so glad she's here. If you guys here, make sure you like her that she's here. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Okay, so, but I wanted to talk about Jezebel because the Jezebel spirit is very pertinent right now. It's coming out now. If you want to see a good watch Third Adam 3, The Rise of the Divine Feminine by Spencer Smith. I've quoted it before. In fact, it's in my Truth recommended videos. If you go to my channel on YouTube, and you'll see it in there, Truth recommended videos. Spencer Smith, The Rise of the Divine Feminine. This Jezebel spirit seems to be infiltrating churches. It's infiltrating politics.
Yep.
Yep. It seems, and it seems to be infiltrating homes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And
well, we have the Jezebel spirit is different, but we have like an Adam and Eve syndrome where Adam is more passive and Eve was more the one that was dealing with stuff.
Yeah.
So we have emasculated passive men and feminized aggressive women. And it's just flipped things upside down.
Yeah.
It's just made things, it's not the right, I forget what that's called, but
it's the right order that
yeah,
God
the right
ascended
order
in.
that God. It's supposed
Yeah.
to be Christ, man, husband, father, wife, mother,
Children. Yeah.
and then children, and it's not going that way too much anymore. We
No.
we have men that are passive. So I mean, did you want me to mention what I told you about
Yeah,
this morning?
yeah, absolutely.
So like with the Jezebel spirit, I was actually listening to a sermon this morning, and the pastor was talking about the Jezebel spirit. And now Jezebel was in the Bible and was married to Ahab. And Jezebel was not Jewish. Ahab was Jewish. And Jezebel was the first person to bring in idols to worship to other gods, not the God Yahweh, which would be the God of the Bible. And so everything he was saying about the Jezebel spirit was interesting because it kind of sounds like Kamala Harris. Okay, she's married to a Jewish man. She's not Jewish, and she she surrounds herself like what Jezebel did was she surrounded herself with eunuchs, right, which is kind of representative of spiritually emasculated men. So I mean, look at Tim Waltz. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, Tampon Tim.
and her husband. Her
Yeah.
husband, like I saw one thing where she was being asked some questions by a reporter, and they are both sitting in the backdrop, just like these dolts,
Oh,
just
yeah.
sitting there with these dumb deer in the headlights look on their face, and you know, I mean, and that's exactly the problem. We got emasculated, spiritually passive men, and she's in charge. And then I thought there was one other thing. And you know, Jezebel also, the Jezebel spirit also seduces people and men with sexual immorality. So she kind of worked her way up through sexual immorality with a married man for her career.
Yeah.
So yeah, she kind of seems like a Jezebel spirit to me.
Yeah, definitely, and you know it. And yet here we have so many people that are willing to accept her.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but they don't have any clue about, you know, the spiritual consequences of her being the leader of this country.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, right now I don't know where we're going. I mean, I don't know to me, it just, I mean, I see us heading we're in the last days. And
Oh, yeah.
I mean, up until, this election, I see us heading for, the tribulation coming. Because we're on that path of, globalism and our country being destroyed. So I don't know. I mean, it's really all in God's hands. Whatever God's plan is for our world and this country, is it going to continue to careen forward towards the tribulation? Or will there be a reprieve for America? And I just don't know. So it's kind of hard, to kind of wonder what, I mean, as Christians, we're supposed to restrain evil. We're supposed to be a restraining force.
Right, and expose it.
And expose lawlessness and wickedness and also restrain against it. So we need to try to do that. And, we aren't just supposed to sit back and wait around for the rapture to come. We're supposed to fight against unrighteousness and lawlessness until he comes back and let people know about the gospel and about things that are going on. And
the problem is that we don't have that in the churches today.
There
are very few remnant churches that are preaching the gospel, that are teaching people about Revelation, that are
teaching the whole counsel of
whole
God's
counsel
word.
of God.
Spiritual warfare.
Yep.
Prophecy. And
prophecy is about 1/3 of the Bible.
Yeah.
And they totally cut that out.
Yep.
And they want to make Jesus this wishy-washy. Oh, he loved everybody.
Jesus is love.
Jesus is love.
But no justice.
No justice,
So,
yeah.
I mean, a lot of pastors these days probably won't even teach Revelation and as Jesus as a righteous king and judge because people won't accept it.
Right.
They'll lose people out of their church.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
Well, church isn't for, it's not supposed to be an entertainment place, and it's not supposed to be about how many people you have in the seats. It's supposed to be a place where, Christians who are already saved come for teaching and to learn biblical truth.
Exactly. And but they don't want to teach that. You have so many churches that are now, they're woke. They're accepting the gay agenda, the LGBT alphabet soup agenda. They're. I did an episode a couple of episodes ago on Andy Stanley, and how he's acceptance of homosexuality in his church, and it's sad. It's really sad. Because I don't know what his father thought, because Charles Stanley was a good, solid Bible teacher.
Right.
And I don't know what went wrong with Andy, but there was. It's just a sad situation, and we're seeing that today. And with women now rising and not understanding their place on God's authority level. Okay, because like you said, you think of it as a bunch of umbrellas. So like a big umbrella, you have Christ. And under that umbrella, you have the husband, the man. Under that umbrella, you have the woman. So Christ is covering the man is covering the woman, and the woman is covering the children. That's the order of authority. But what did God tell Eve? That she would be. What did it say in Genesis? That she's going to be what with her husband? Huh? You remember the exact wording?
I forget.
She's going to be
Enmity.
No, not enmity with
No?
her husband. No, I don't think so. Let's see. Commanded thee also thistles, thorns. It said the wife will be. Her desire will be to her husband, so that desire is for her to take that place of leadership.
Yep.
Your desire will be to your husband. For your that's what it's talking about. And of course, because and this has been part of the satanic. Remember, we are in a spiritual war. We're in a spiritual battle, and it's there. We don't wrestle against flesh and blood. We don't, and the weapons of warfare are not carnal. So we are dealing with a spiritual battle that took place all the way back in Genesis 3:15.
Yeah.
When God told him there'll be enmity, God told the devil there'll be enmity between you, your seed, and her seed. And Satan has seed. He does. Now, I think the seed will be the Antichrist and the ultimate.
Yeah.
But we're moving into these end times, and we're seeing the Jezebel spirit infiltrating everywhere in the world. The divine feminine is strong. Women are wanting their place, and I don't disagree with the fact that if a woman is doing the same job as a man, she should be getting the same pay. I'm all for that. I personally think there are some things women shouldn't be doing. That's not their place to do. God has established men as the warriors and the fighters, the hunter-gatherers, if you want to put it in a secular term. And we're here to protect the woman and to nurture them. The Bible says, as being unto the weaker vessel. Now, that doesn't mean, Lori could probably take me in a fight. Okay? And I certainly wouldn't cross her. And there was a funny meme going around with this guy. His face is all black and blue. And he's got bandages on. His wife's standing behind him. He's holding a bowl of soup and he's shaking with it. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
He says, last night I told my wife that this soup tastes like crap. And then he says, it's much better now. It's much better today. So I think, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that, a woman should be abused, stay home, shoeless and naked in the pregnant in the kitchen. Sorry, guys. But, there's a place for a woman to do work. Proverbs 31 woman talks about that, where she makes things for her family. She goes and buys a field. She engages in commerce, So there's nothing wrong with that. But when we start seeing what we're seeing here, that, women will lead them, and the men becoming very passive.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, we're moving into the end times, folks. We're moving into the end times. I think the rapture is right around the corner, and I was just looking at the time. We've been on.
I have to excuse myself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We're going to end here because I think we've ended about what we're going to say tonight. So thanks for being with us tonight. We do appreciate it. I'm sorry for the technical issues. We'll try to get those worked out. But God bless you guys. Thank you, and join us next time. Yeah. God bless you guys. Join us next time for The Truth Must Be Told. Bye-bye.
He's just ignorant. He doesn't know any better than to tell the truth.